Test 1. Listening. Part 4. Exam practice. You'll hear an interview with a boy called Tom Dawson, who is very good at juggling, throwing several objects into the air at the same time and catching them. For questions 24 to 30, choose the best answer A, B or C. You now have 1 minute to look at part 4.
Today I'm with Tom Dawson, who's got an unusual hobby, juggling.
That's right.
And you're really good at it, aren't you, Tom? Tell us how you got started.
Well, my father's skilled at juggling. He performs at children's parties. But when I was younger, I never really wanted to have a go. We did juggling at school, though, and my games teacher said I was really good. But even then, it never attracted me. It wasn't until I saw some clowns doing it at a circus with my family that I realised how spectacular it was to watch. So I went straight home and got practising.
And I guess you spend lots of time practising. Is that difficult?
Oh, I do it every day, at school, in the garden. Once I'd mastered throwing and catching 3 balls at a time, I just kept adding more. I don't find it hard, but I do feel a bit discouraged sometimes if it goes wrong. But then I just try even harder to get it right. I sometimes wish there was an easier way to improve, though. I get a bit impatient.
And when you're practising, you use small soft objects like bean bags, don't you? Why do you prefer those?
Well, they're great if you're a beginner. They're not hard to use. And you can buy them anywhere. They don't cost much, so that's good for many people. And I find I can easily stick them in my pocket when I go out, and then practice whenever I've got a minute. And that's a real plus for me.
And sometimes you give performances in your school shows. How do you feel then?
Oh, it's cool to show other people my skills, but then I'm not the only one at my school with an unusual hobby. There are lots of fantastic skateboarders and BMXers and so on. So maybe for the students, my skill's not that impressive. I always worry beforehand about getting it wrong in front of other people, but so far that hasn't happened. And to be honest, I'm thinking so hard about what I'm doing that I don't really see whether other people think it's great or whether they're really bored.
So, what's been the high point so far?
Well, let's see. There was the day I was out with my cousins in the park. I just managed to teach my cousins some juggling skills. They're only 7 and 8, so they were doing well. Anyway, I was just showing them my favourite juggling trick. I'd learnt to do it really fast. And a journalist from a local newspaper happened to see me, and he took a photo for the paper. It appeared the next day. My cousins thought I'd become famous, so they were as thrilled as I was.
So, any advice for people trying to learn juggling?
Well, if you watch the professionals, you notice their techniques. They make it look really elegant because they stand in the same position without moving a single step. And that's what you need to do. Sometimes they'll move their bodies around like a dancer, but that's for effect. It's not to help their juggling. And they'll also spread their arms out, and the balls will fly up in a perfect semicircle. But that's quite hard, so you don't have to do that, only if you want to experiment.
So, what next for your juggling, Tom? Any plans?
Well, I've heard about a new class starting soon near where I live, teaching circus skills to young people, so that'd be good. I've met quite a few people in my town who are also into juggling, so we could go together once it gets started. But my school's just started a juggling club for people after lessons finish for the day, so I'll be going there in the meantime.
Thanks, Tom.
Test 1. Listening. Part 4.